Good evening. Let's read some more before I get tired, too tired. I like to read all this, but not tonight, because now it's too late. But I can read this.
Pascal's calculator. Pascal's calculator, also known as the arithmetic machine or Pascaline, is a mechanical calculator invented by Blaise Pascal in 1642. Pascal was led to develop a calculator by the laborious arithmetical calculations required by his father's work as the supervisor of taxes in Rouen. He designed the machine to add and subtract two numbers directly and to perform multiplication and division through repeated addition or subtraction. Pascal's calculator was especially successful in the design of its carry mechanism, which adds 1 to 9 on one dial, and carries 1 to the next dial when the first dial changes from 9 to 0. His innovation made each digit independent of the state of the others, enabling multiple carries to rapidly cascade from one digit to another regardless of the machine's capacity. Pascal was also the first to shrink and adapt for his purpose a lantern gear, used in turret clocks and water wheels. This innovation allowed the device to resist the strength of any operator input with very little added friction. Pascal designed the machine in 1642. After 50 prototypes, he presented the device to the public in 1645, dedicating it to Pierre Séguier, then Chancellor of France. Pascal built around 20 more machines during the next decade, many of which improved on his original design. In 1649, King Louis XIV of France gave Pascal a royal privilege, similar to a patent, which provided the exclusive right to design and manufacture calculating machines in France. 9 Pascal calculators presently exist, most are on display in European museums. Many later calculators were either directly inspired by or shaped by the same historical influences that had led to Pascal's invention. Gottfried Leibniz invented his Leibniz wheels after 1671, after trying to add an automatic multiplication feature to the Pascaline. In 1820, Thomas de Colmar designed his arithmometer, the first mechanical calculator strong enough and reliable enough to be used daily in an office environment. It is not clear whether he ever saw Leibniz's device, but he either reinvented it or utilized Leibniz's invention of the step drum. History, edit. Blaise Pascal began to work on his calculator in 1642, when he was 18 years old. He had been assisting his father, who worked as a tax commissioner, and sought to produce a device which could reduce some of his workload. Pascal received a royal privilege in 1649 that granted him exclusive rights to make and sell calculating machines in France. By 1654 he had sold about 20 machines. Only 9 of those 20 machines are known to exist today, but the cost and complexity of the Pascaline was a barrier to further sales, and production ceased in that year. By that time Pascal had moved on to the study of religion and philosophy, which gave us both the lettres provinciales and the pensees. The tercentenary celebration of Pascal's invention of the mechanical calculator occurred during World War II, when France was occupied by Germany, and therefore the main celebration was held in London, England. Speeches given during the event highlighted Pascal's practical achievements when he was already known in the field of pure mathematics, and his creative imagination, along with how ahead of their time both the machine and its inventor were. Detail of the carry mechanism and of the sorter. The calculator had spoked metal wheel dials, with the digit 0 through 9 displayed around the circumference of each wheel. To input a digit, the user placed a stylus in the corresponding space between the spokes and turned the dial until a metal stop at the bottom was reached, similar to the way the rotary dial of a telephone is used. This displayed the number in the windows at the top of the calculator. Then, one simply redialed the second number to be added, causing the sum of both numbers to appear in the accumulator. Each dial is associated with a one-digit display window located directly above it, which displays the value of the accumulator for this position. The complement of this digit, in the base of the wheel, 6, 10, 12, 20, is displayed just above this digit. A horizontal bar hides either all the complement numbers when it is slid to the top, or all the direct numbers when it is slid toward the center of the machine. It thereby displays either the content of the accumulator or the complement of its value. Since the gears of the calculator rotated in only one direction, negative numbers could not be directly summed. To subtract one number from another, the method of 9's complement was used. The only two differences between an addition and a subtraction are the position of the display bar, direct versus complement, and the way the first number is entered, direct versus complement. For a 10-digit wheel, N, the fixed outside wheel is numbered from 0 to 9, N1. The numbers are inscribed in a decreasing manner clockwise going from the bottom left to the bottom right of the stop lever. To add a 5, one must insert a stylus between the spokes that surround the number 5 and rotate the wheel clockwise all the way to the stop lever. The number displayed on the corresponding display register will be increased by 5 and, if a carry transfer takes place, the display register to the left of it will be increased by 1. To add 50, use the tens input wheel, second dial from the right on a decimal machine. To add 500, use the hundreds input wheel, etc. On all the wheels of all the known machines, except for the machine Tardive, 2 adjacent spokes are marked. These marks differ from machine to machine. On the wheel pictured on the right, they are drilled dots. On the surveying machine they are carved. Some are just scratches or marks made with a bit of varnish. Some were even marked with little pieces of paper. These marks are used to set the corresponding cylinder to its maximum number, ready to be re-zeroed. To do so, the operator inserts the stylus in between these two spokes and turns the wheel all the way to the stopping lever. This works because each wheel is directly linked to its corresponding display cylinder. It automatically turns by one during a carry operation. To mark the spokes during manufacturing, one can move the cylinder so that its highest number is displayed and then mark the spoke under the stopping lever and the one to the right of it. 4 of the known machines have inner wheels of complements, which were used to enter the first operand in a subtraction. They are mounted at the center of each spoked metal wheel and turn with it. The wheel displayed in the picture above has an inner wheel of complements, but the numbers written on it are barely visible. On a decimal machine, the digits 0 through 9 are carved clockwise, with each digit positioned between two spokes so that the operator can directly inscribe its value in the window of complements by positioning his stylus in between them and turning the wheel clockwise all the way to the stop lever. The marks on 2 adjacent spokes flank the digit 0 inscribed on this wheel. On 4 of the known machines, above each wheel, a small quotient wheel is mounted on the display bar. These quotient wheels, which are set by the operator, have numbers from 1 to 10 inscribed clockwise on their peripheries, even above a non-decimal wheel. Quotient wheels seem to have been used during a division to memorize the number of times the divisor was subtracted at each given index. In a mechanism, edit. Pascal went through 50 prototypes before settling on his final design. we know that he started with some sort of calculating clock mechanism which apparently works by springs and which has a very simple design, was used many times and remained in operating order. Nevertheless, while always improving on it, he found reason to try to make the whole system more reliable and robust. Eventually he adopted a component of very large clocks, shrinking and adapting for his purpose the robust gears that can be found in a turret clock mechanism called a lantern gear, itself derived from a water wheel mechanism. This could easily handle the strength of an operator input. Pascal adapted a pawl and ratchet mechanism to his own turret wheel design. The pawl prevents the wheel from turning counterclockwise during an operator input, but it is also used to precisely position the display wheel and the carry mechanism for the next digit when it is pushed up and lands into its next position. Because of this mechanism, each number displayed is perfectly centered in the display window and each digit is precisely positioned for the next operation. This mechanism would be moved 6 times if the operator dialed a 6 on its associated input wheel. Carry mechanism, edit. The sorter is the centerpiece of the Pascaline's carry mechanism. In his Avis Nécessaire, Pascal noted that a machine with 10,000 wheels would work as well as a machine with 2 wheels because each wheel is independent of the other. When it is time to propagate a carry, the sorter, under the sole influence of gravity, is thrown toward the next wheel without any contact between the wheels. During its free fall, the sorter behaves like an acrobat jumping from one trapeze to the next without the trapezes touching each other. Sorter comes from the French verb sauter, which means to jump. All the wheels, including gears and sorter, have therefore the same size and weight independently of the capacity of the machine. Pascal used gravity to arm the sorters. One must turn the wheel 5 steps from 4 to 9 in order to fully arm a sorter, but the carry transfer will move the next wheel only 1 step. Thus, much extra energy is accumulated during the arming of a sorter. All the sorters are armed by either an operator input or a carry forward. To re-zero a 10,000 wheel machine, if one existed, the operator would have to set every wheel to its maximum and then add a 1 to the unit wheel. The carry would turn every input wheel one by one in a very rapid domino effect fashion and all the display registers would be reset. The carry transmission has 3 phases. 1. The first phase happens when the display register goes from 4 to 9. The 2 carry pins, one after the other, lift the sorter pushing on its protruding part marked 3, 4, 5. At the same time the kicking pawl, 1, is pulled up, using a pin on the receiving wheel as guidance, but without effect on this wheel because of the top pawl /ratchet, C. During the first phase, the active wheel touches the one that will receive the carry through the sorter, but it never moves it or modifies it and therefore the status of the receiving wheel has no impact whatsoever on the active wheel. 2. The second phase starts when the display register goes from 9 to 0. The kicking pawl passes its guiding pin and its spring, ZU, positions it above this pin ready to push back on it. The sorter keeps on moving up and suddenly the second carry pin drops it. The sorter falls of its own weight. During the second phase, the sorter and the 2 wheels are completely disconnected. 3. The kicking pawl, 1, pushes the pin on the receiving wheel and starts turning it. The upper pawl /ratchet, C, is moved to the next space. The operation stops when the protruding part, T, hits the buffer stop, R. The upper pawl /ratchet, C, positions the entire receiving mechanism in its proper place. During the third phase the sorter, which no longer touches the active wheel, adds 1 to the receiving wheel. Operation, edit. The Pascaline is a direct adding machine, it has no crank, so the value of a number is added to the accumulator as it is being dialed in. By moving a display bar, the operator can see either the number stored in the calculator or the complement of its value. Subtractions are performed like additions using some properties of 9s complement arithmetic. 9s complement, edit. The 9s complement of any one-digit decimal number d is 9d. So the 9s complement of 4 is 5 and the 9s complement of 9 is 0. Similarly, the 11s complement of 3 is 8. In a decimal machine with n dials, the 9s complement of a number is Cp of a equals 10 to the nth power minus 1 minus a. And therefore the 9s complement of AB is 2 lines. Line 1, Cp of open paren a minus b close paren equals 10 to the nth power minus 1 minus open paren a minus b close paren equals 10 to the nth power minus 1 minus a plus b. Line 2, blank equals Cp of a plus b. In other words, the 9s complement of the difference of two numbers is equal to the sum of the 9s complement of the minuend added to the subtrahend. The same principle is valid and can be used with numbers composed of digits of various bases, base 6, 12, 20, like in the surveying or the accounting machines. This can also be extended to Cp of open paren a minus b minus c minus d close paren equals Cp of a plus b plus c plus d. This principle applied to the Pascal line. Cp of a. First, the complement of the minuend is entered. The operator can either use the inner wheels of complements or dial the complement of the minuend directly. The display bar is shifted to show the complements window so that the operator sees the direct number displayed because Cp of open paren Cp of a close paren equals a b. Then the second number is dialed in and adds its value to the accumulator. Cp times open paren a minus b close paren. The result, AB, is displayed in the complement window because Cp of open paren Cp of open paren a minus b close paren equals a minus b. The last step can be repeated as long as the subtrahend is smaller than the minuend displayed in the accumulator. Resetting the machine, edit. The machine has to be re-zeroed before each new operation. To reset his machine, the operator has to set all the wheels to their maximum, using the marks on two adjacent spokes, and then add one to the rightmost wheel. The method of re-zeroing that Pascal chose, which propagates a carry right through the machine, is the most demanding task for a mechanical calculator and proves, before each operation, that the machine is fully functional. This is a testament to the quality of the Pascal line because none of the 18th century criticisms of the machine mentioned a problem with the carry mechanism, and yet this feature was fully tested on all the machines, by their resets, all the time. Re-zero set all the wheels to their maximum using the marks on two adjacent spokes. Every single wheel is ready for a carry transfer. 0 0 0 0 0 99999. Add 1 to the rightmost wheel. Each wheel sends its sorter to the next one. The zeros appear one after another, like in a domino effect, from right to left. 99999. 0 0 0 0 0. Addition, edit. Additions are performed with the display bar moved closest to the edge of the machine, showing the direct value of the accumulator. After re-zeroing the machine, numbers are dialed in one after the other. The following table shows all the steps required to compute 12,345 plus 56,789 equals 69,134. Addition: the machine is at 0. The operator enters 12,345. 87654. 12345. The operator enters the second operand, 56,789. If he starts with the rightmost number, the second wheel will go from 4 to 5, during the inscription of the 9, because of a carry transmission. 30865. 69134. Subtraction, edit. Subtractions are performed with the display bar moved closest to the center of the machine, showing the complement value of the accumulator. The accumulator contains CP of O during the first step and CP times open paren A minus B close paren. After adding B, in displaying that data in the complement window, the operator sees CP of open paren CP of a close paren, which is A, and then CP of open paren CP of open paren A minus B close paren, which is open paren A minus B close paren. It feels like an addition, since the only two differences in between an addition and a subtraction are the position of the display bar, direct versus complement, and the way the first number is entered, direct versus complement. The following table shows all the steps required to compute 54,321-12,345 equals 41,976. Change display space. Move the display bar down to uncover the complement part of each result cylinder. From this point on, every number dialed into the machine adds its value to the accumulator and therefore decreases the total displayed in the complement window. 99999. 00000. Subtraction. Enter the 9s complement of the minuend. The operator can either use the inner wheels of complements or dial the 9s complement of 54,321, 45,678, directly. 54321. 45678. Dial the subtrahend, 12,345, on the spoked metal wheels. This is an addition. The result, 41,976, is in the 9s complement window. 41976. 58023. Uses, edit. Pascal lines came in both decimal and non-decimal varieties, both of which can be viewed in museums today. They were designed for use by scientists, accountants and surveyors. The simplest Pascal line had 5 dials, later variants had up to 10 dials. The contemporary French currency system used levers, sols and deniers, with 20 sols to a lever and 12 deniers to a sol. Length was measured in toises, pides, pouces and ligness, with 6 pides to a toise, 12 pouces to a pide and 12 ligness to a pouce. Therefore, the Pascal line needed wheels in base 6, 10, 12 and 20. Non-decimal wheels were always located before the decimal part. In an accounting machine, 10, 10, 20, 12, the decimal part counted the number of levers, 20 sols, 12 deniers, and deniers. In a surveyor's machine, 10, 10, 6, 12, 12, the decimal part counted the number of toises, 6 pides, 12 pouces, 12 ligness, and ligness. Scientific machines just had decimal wheels. Configurations. Machine type: other wheels, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Decimal / scientific base 10. 10,000s base 10. Thousands base 10. Hundreds base 10. Tens base 10. Units. Accounting base 10. Hundreds base 10. Tens base 10. Levers base 20. Sols base 12. Deniers. Surveying base 10. Tens base 10. Toises base 6. Pides base 12. Pouces base 12. Lignus. The decimal part of each machine is highlighted. The metric system was adopted in France on the 10th of December, 1799, by which time Pascal's basic design had inspired other craftsmen, although with a similar lack of commercial success. Production, edit. Most of the machines that have survived the centuries are of the accounting type. 7 of them are in European museums, 1 belongs to the IBM Corporation and 1 is in private hands. Location. Country. Machine name. Type. Wheels. Configuration. Notes. Clam Museum. Paris, France. Chancelier Seguier accounting 86x10 plus 20 plus 12. Clam Museum. Paris, France. Christina, Queen of Sweden Scientific 66x10. Clam Museum. Paris, France. Louis Perrier accounting 86x10 plus 20 plus 12. Louis Perrier, Pascal's nephew, offered it to the Académie des Sciences de Paris in 1711. Clam Museum. Paris, France. Late, Tardif, accounting 64x10 plus 20 plus 12. This machine was assembled in the 18th century with unused parts. Musée Henri Lecoq. Clermont-Ferrand, France. Marguerite Perrier Scientific 88x10 Marguerite, 1646 1733, was Pascal's goddaughter. Musée Henri Lecoq. Clermont-Ferrand, France. Chevalier Durand Pascal accounting 53x10 plus 20 plus 12. This is the only known machine that came with a box. This is the smallest machine. Was it meant to be portable? Mathematische Physikalische Salon, Dresden, Germany. Queen of Poland accounting 10 plus 20 plus 12. The second wheel from the right has a wheel with 10 spokes contained in a fixed wheel with 20 segments. This could be attributed to a bad restoration. Leon Pass Collection, France. Surveying 85x10 plus 6 plus 12 plus 12. This machine was bought as a broken music box in a French antique shop in 1942. IBM Collection, USA accounting 86x10 plus 20 plus 12. Limits to distribution and controversies, edit. Pascal planned to distribute the Pascal line broadly in order to reduce the workload for people who needed to perform laborious arithmetic. Drawing inspiration from his father, a tax commissioner, Pascal hoped to provide a shortcut to hours of number crunching performed by workers in professions such as mathematics, physics, astronomy, etc. But, because of the intricacies of the device, the relationship Pascal had with craftsmen, and the intellectual property laws he influenced, the production of the Pascal line was far more limited than he had envisioned. Only 20 Pascal lines were produced over the 10 years following its creation. Intellectual property, edit. In 1649, King Louis XIV of France gave Pascal a royal privilege, a precursor to the patent, which provided the exclusive right to design and manufacture calculating machines in France, allowing the Pascal line to be the first calculator sold by a distributor. Pascal feared that craftsmen would not be able to accurately reproduce his Pascal line, which would result in false copies that would ruin his reputation along with the reputation of his machine. In 1645, in order to control the production of his invention, Pascal wrote to Monseigneur le Chancelier, the Chancellor of France, Pierre Seguier, in his letter entitled La Machine d'Arithmétique. Lettre dédicace à Monseigneur le Chancelier. Pascal requested that no Pascal line be made without his permission. His ingenuity garnered the respect of King Louis XIV of France, who granted his request, but it came at a price. Craftsmen were not able to legally experiment with Pascal's design, nor were they able to distribute his machine without his permission /guidance. Social context of intellectual collaboration with craftsmen, edit. Pascal lived in France during France's Ancien Régime. During his time, craftsmen in Europe increasingly organized into guilds, such as the English clockmakers who formed the Clockmakers Guild in 1631, halfway through Pascal's efforts to create the calculator. This affected Pascal's ability to recruit talent as guilds often reduced the exchange of ideas and trade,